All right, there you go. Wednesday, October 30th. We are still in Lafayette, Indiana at the Rohrman Auto Group, broadcasting live from inside a beautiful Kia showroom. Today we're talking about Ford stock dropping, Tesla making more vehicles, getting refunds from airlines, everybody's favorite thing to do on a weekend. I love getting airline refunds on the weekend.
Yeah.
So here we are.
I don't know. Here we are.
You know what's really messing me up about being in Lafayette, Indiana, is the fact that it's like I feel like 3 blocks from the central time zone line. So on the furthest.
Oh, it was 8 o'clock this morning and dark as could.
Having a blast, just talking to the leadership and the staff of the Rohrman Auto Group, filming an episode for season 2 of More Than Cars. But season 1 is not finished. We have an episode dropping 2 weeks from today.
Yeah. It's going to be 1 o'clock Eastern in the afternoon, and we got to go to Mohawk Chevrolet, which, if you haven't seen, they've got a whole series called The Dealership there, and they've just got an incredible team. So you're going to want to check that episode out. Make sure and circle it on your calendar. Go to the LinkedIn event.
Yes,
on our LinkedIn page.
Be there with us on the live stream.
It
is so fun.
Being there is great,
and it's a fun episode. Yesterday, you and I had a little bit of a competitive. So there's a lot of competition. I'm not going to give anything away.
Can't give anything away.
Let's just say Kyle got kicked in the face.
I got kicked in the face.
I didn't do it on purpose, I promise. But, you'll get to see that at some point.
I still got hard feelings about that.
Hey, I almost gave away a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll stop talking about that. But yeah, so let's talk about some news.
Let's get
you updated
today.
And get you on your way this morning. So basically, Ford is adjusting their full year targets after posting a very large drop in net income in their Q3 earnings report due to expected EV delays. Ford is reporting this due to EV delays and associated costs.
Associated costs.
I'm going to say hi, babe. Oh, I spent that on associated costs.
Spent a little too much. Sorry.
Yeah, sometimes I have a problem with associated costs. Revenue rose 5% overall, Ford to $46 billion, marking the 10th consecutive growth quarter.
Pretty impressive.
That's something to celebrate. Ford now is projecting full year EBIT around $10 billion, down from $12 billion, their estimate earlier in the year. I know. It's funny just saying those. Only $10 billion.
Just a couple billion off the top, guys.
Only $10 billion. Cost-cutting efforts of $2 billion this year have been offset by inflation and warranty costs. Obviously, Jim Farley talking a lot about cost cutting last year. He says, CFO John Lawler says, actually, quote, cost is what's holding us back, but we're focused on improving every quarter. What else are you going to say when you're publicly traded CFO?
Look, well done, PR team. But here's, obviously they kind of said, hey, look, we're going to press the pause button on a lot of the EV strategy that they had going into Q3 and Q4, which is the majority of the costs that they're backed up against, the associated costs with all of that, just like pressing pause and keeping that stuff not turning revenue. But this is something that I think every business is dealing with, is like the rising cost of doing business due to cost of goods, anything like that. And yet, tightening a little bit on margins because of that. So, hey, look, what's a couple billion between friends, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's good that they focused that Farley put such an initiative in motion last year.
Yep.
To do very aggressive with cost cutting, because if they didn't, it would be a disaster this year. And you never know what's coming. I mean, hopefully a lot of the cost of doing business start to level out here soon. That's what it seems like. We're reaching that with interest rate drops and inflation. So we'll see. But, Ford has been on this very steady path. And we were just talking, I don't know if it was today or last night, but can you imagine having to all the time, energy, and effort to report every quarter, and just the scrutiny that comes with every 90 days. 90 days goes by so quick.
It's wild.
So respect amidst all the costs and associated costs.
The associated costs.
Tesla announced they have a very ambitious target to produce an additional 500,000 vehicles next year. Wow. Then they did leveraging, they say factory enhancement, new production methodologies, and they just want to grow overall their footprint. Tesla's ramping up both Giga Texas and Giga Berlin, as well as a few of the other ones, to adopt new, more streamlined techniques and practices that they've deployed on models like the Model Y, the Model 3. They're going to do that across their whole lineup and also make some enhancements to those as well. basically battery technology using structural battery packs, and their 4680 battery cells. They've been working on those, and now they're just pumping those out like I don't know, like a Pez dispenser.
I'm
feels
sure.
like help the range be high, help production go faster. They're upgrading factories, both input. I mean, this is getting. They're making everything better.
They're making everything.
They're making everything
it's just
better.
getting better.
And Elon says, "quote This is not just about meeting demand; it's about setting the pace for the global shift toward electrification."
Yeah, which is something that they've constantly done. They've just always outpaced demand and expected demand to pick up.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting though, because you also read a story this week that they're continuing their 0% interest in Asian markets, right? Because they are trying to go back and regain market share in those areas. But there's plenty of other areas of the globe where they are the leaders in basically creating market share. So if you create another 500,000 or 500 million units of potential demand, the chances are what he's betting on is like this will get swallowed up by net new demand when we have the availability, and more importantly, when we have enough scale to get the right pricing matrix for these.
You know, I think a lot of people, and we've talked about this before as well, they look at Tesla's responses and their actions as reactionary or maybe a little erratic, and that could possibly be because Elon is a little erratic, right?
Seems a little erratic.
However, knowing some people that have worked at Tesla, they said it's actually the opposite.
Right.
Like a lot of the decisions are
Calculated.
made on production and pricing and adjustments and incentives are actually very well thought out, very well data driven.
Yep.
So they kind of know what they're doing. So I don't know. It's hard to bet against Tesla.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like they
really
took a couple
is.
shots at like, I don't know where they. No, they're going to do it. So another 500,000 Tesla EVs. I think it's going to happen.
Yep. Oh man, Segway game is off today.
It's
I got
hard.
nothing.
It's
It's hard when you're sitting.
Speaking of things that are never going to happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the new requirements that were talked about a few months ago for airlines just dropped, giving customers quicker access to refunds on disrupted flights.
Okay.
Airlines must now issue automatic cash refunds for significant delays or cancellations.
Wow.
Here's the requirement: delays over 3 hours for domestic,
Been there.
and 6 hours for international flights qualify.
Been there.
Yeah, the 6 hour for international flight, that'd be pretty aggressive. But the 3 hour for domestic, like that's happened a good amount of times.
A good bit.
So cancellation.
Nathan, I'm
refunds,
looking at you.
Yeah, right. Poor Nathan. He's always getting caught in it. Check bag fees must be refunded for delayed luggage beyond 12 hours or 15 hours international. So if you don't get your luggage in 12 hours,
They usually
refund
go
you
together.
$30.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And they say, come get it.
Come and get it. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said passengers deserve to get their money back without headaches or haggling.
So listen, if there is a refund mechanism that goes in place, look, it's always it's a double-edged sword because regulation always hinders businesses from growing faster. However, on the consumer side, this is a frustration that millions of people deal with, and I wonder how much money an airline makes because people just give up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? Because sometimes it could be like $100 or $200, and you're like getting this labyrinth of, virtual assistants and long wait times and emails that you don't know who you're emailing, to where you're just like, you'll forget it. But now you get the money back on your card, not a travel credit.
Yep.
Not a trip credit, which are also confusing to use at times.
Absolutely.
Like, do I have one? Do I not have one?
You gotta log out,
apply
go to the other screen, all that. Yeah.
So I'm excited about this. And in our industry, a lot of people flying, a lot of people traveling. I think this is a good win.
I also think just like as a form of practice in our industry, we have times where refunds, where things going back on cards are important to customers.
Absolutely.
Right?
Expenses,
a deal doesn't come
yes.
back, whatever, and you've got to refund a down payment or a deposit or something like that. This is an after sales or an after the initial purchase experience that can really drive retention and loyalty when you're thinking ahead of it. So just thinking about the systems that you have in place in a store to know whether or not you can quickly get people what they need.
That's a great,
no matter what
that's
it is.
a great point, because like one of two things will happen when you have like money going back where it needs to be right away. You have this idea where it's like either it's surprise and delight,
Right.
or I don't think about it again because it's done.
Yep.
Right. And all those little things, every time someone has to think about something, it's like you lost.
You lost. Exactly.
You lost.
Yeah. So making that easy, painless, it will absolutely change like that customer's desire to do business with you again.
All right, I think roll the music. I think that's going to do it
Run
today.
it.
We're in for a second day of shooting in Lafayette, Indiana, and then we're going to be heading back to. You're flying home to Nashville,
Flying, baby.
Nathan and I are about Syracuse, and we'll be with you bright and early from our little nests in Syracuse and Nashville. Have a great day. We go take care of some people.